From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
This was a shock. This is a shocker, a big shocker.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Nicole Griffin. We begin tonight with a horrific crime. Several people shot and killed in a northeast side home. The community in shock tonight. Nikki Dementri begins our team coverage live with what police just said about the mass shooting.
Good evening, Nicole. You know, you just spoke about this awful tragedy right now, Nicole. Good evening. This tragedy happened just a few miles away on Adams Street from where we're standing right now. And it's a tragedy that, as you said, rocked the community. Police here say it is the largest mass shooting in more than a decade in the city of Indianapolis. And now 6 people are dead, including an unborn child. And police are now left looking for answers. This is what we know at this hour. IMPD says police responded to a call in the 3300 block of East 36th Street around 4 a.m. That's where they found a juvenile male who is expected to survive with apparent gunshot wounds. It was information from that scene, police say, that brought them to Adams Street, where upon arrival, 5 people were found dead, one a pregnant woman. She was taken to a local hospital where the unborn baby was also pronounced dead. Now, police are considering this a mass murder situation where it is believed the shooting was not random. Although at this time, IMPD says there are no suspects and no motive, but it is possible, they say, that there is more than one shooter.
I want those responsible to know that the full might of local, state, and federal law enforcement are coming for them as I speak. Coming for them today, coming for them tonight, coming for them tomorrow, and the day after that. Coming for them as long as it takes to find them.
I don't know what goes through a person's mind. I don't know what kind of lie they listen to in their head that would tell them that pulling the trigger on anybody, but especially on this many people, is the right thing to do. I don't think I really want to know, to be honest with you. But it does have to stop. Our community doesn't deserve this.
You don't.
I'm Ken, all right?
Detectives continue to work the scene at this hour. State and federal partners are also assisting in this investigation. Now, Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett, who you just heard that very strong message from just a few moments ago, he says anyone involved in this crime will be brought to justice. Specifically, he mentioned anyone aiding and abetting those responsible. And if the guns involved in this crime were illegally possessed, the person or persons responsible for providing those weapons, he said, will also be brought to justice. Now, police and the mayor's office are asking for any information, anyone with any information, to call Crime Stoppers or the IMPD homicide line. We have both of those numbers on our website, WRTV.com. But for now, live in Indianapolis, Nikki Dementri, WRTV.
Nikki, thank you. Our team coverage continues with WRTV Investigates Rafael Sanchez. Rafael, what is next in this ongoing case?
Nicole, good evening. Behind the scenes, as Nikki pointed out, police are working with their state and federal partners on this ongoing investigation. I am told that they are following a few tips. Nothing is being released at this hour to the media or to the public. But let me put this event today in its perspective. City records show that the first Metro police officers arrived on Adams Street within 2 minutes of the first 911 call. Before 4 a.m., a caller reported a juvenile with a gunshot wound asking for help. That juvenile was able to escape from a nearby home. It was inside that home that before 5 a.m. that police found 5 bodies. A pregnant woman was among those inside the home on the 3500 block of Adams. She was rushed to the hospital. She and her unborn baby died. Now, this mass murder on Adams Street, it comes 15 years after the horrific scene on Hamilton Avenue back in June of 2006. That year, that situation impacted the Albaran, Covarrubias, and Valdez families. 7 people, including 3 children, were killed execution style during that home invasion. 2 men were arrested and convicted. Now, tonight I spoke with Janie Covarrubias. Her family members were the ones among those killed on Hamilton Avenue. And when she heard about the Adams Street death, she says she was simply overwhelmed with emotions. In a statement tonight to WRTV, she says, "We are still a loss of words when something like this happens. Our anxiety level goes up. And to this day, we have not fully healed, not sure if we ever will." Janie goes on to tell us that we pray that the people affected today, that they find peace during this difficult time. May God help the police and the people affected find justice and peace. And before the Hamilton Avenue murders back in 2006, Nicole, the city had recorded a mass murder back in 1981. That year, King Edward Bell killed 6 members of his family. We'll continue to follow the latest developments right here on WRTV. Reporting live tonight, Rafael Sanchez, WRTV.
Rafael, thank you. And this has been a very violent weekend across Marion County. There's another homicide investigation happening on the east side. Officers found a critically wounded man last night at an apartment complex in the 200 block of North Shortridge Road. He died at the scene. At first, investigators concluded he'd been shot, but now they say the cause is undetermined. And overnight, there were at least 5 other shootings, including 3 people shot early this morning at 16th and Delaware. Investigators say at least one of the victims is in critical condition. The other 2 are said to be in stable condition. Police are seeking more information on this case. Now to your forecast tonight. It is a WRTV Storm Team Alert. Meteorologist Kyle Mounds joins me now. Kyle, I woke up to some snow this morning in Fishers, and I know you're tracking another round for the start of our work week.
Yeah, Nicole, we don't get much of a break here, and I do think that the second round that comes our way tomorrow morning going to be a little more widespread. You can see a winter weather advisory is going to go into effect at 5 a.m. for pretty much all of central Indiana here, as we are expecting that freezing rain, sleet, and snow mixture to move in during the morning hours. We'll have some slick surfaces, especially the untreated ones there, so be careful out there on the sidewalks especially, and we will transition to a little more rain as we go into the afternoon. But here's a look at TrueCast, 7 a.m. tomorrow, so we will start to see this developing as we go through the morning, during or just after the morning drive here. And then as we go toward midday, you can see fairly widespread that wintry mix before temperatures begin to warm a little bit, and we'll make that transition over to some rain. We'll talk more about the amounts we can expect of the ice and snow coming our way in just a bit.
Kyle, thank you. Let's get to the very latest numbers that show how COVID-19 is impacting the Hoosier State. Another 2,565 people have been diagnosed with the coronavirus. The state health department also reported 23 more deaths. The total number now stands at 9,340. Since March, more than 611,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for COVID-19, and more than 6.7 million tests have been administered in Indiana. More than 418,000 American lives have been lost to COVID-19, and the need to get everyone vaccinated is growing more urgent. But those vaccination efforts are falling short. Some sites running out of the vaccine and others unable to administer all the doses that they have available. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimbert tonight with the very latest details.
The U.S. surpassing 25 million cases of coronavirus, according to Johns Hopkins University. And while some states are seeing trends dip in the right direction, others are still seeing the virus spreading at alarming rates. There are growing concerns about the UK variant now detected in at least 23 states. Scientists stress more research is needed on whether the variant is deadlier.
It could be that the variant hit the UK when their hospitals were overwhelmed, and we know when hospitals get overwhelmed, mortality rates tend to rise. But it's clearly still a deadly disease and clearly more contagious.
Researchers in Ohio say a U.S. variant has been circulating since May. And in California, scientists say a newly identified strain has been found in more than a third of the cases in Los Angeles. Dr. Anthony Fauci believes the vaccines will still be effective.
Moderna and Pfizer vaccines seem to continue to be protective against the mutant strain. It is a very minor diminution, but the cushion that you have of efficacy is so large that it's not going to negatively impact.
More than 20 million vaccine doses have been administered.
The more people we vaccinate, the better we will do. The fewer outbreaks we will see, the sooner we can get back to our way of life.
But the rollout has been challenging. Some vaccine distribution sites are seeing hours-long waits.
That's not the way we treat those we consider vulnerable in need of this vaccine most. You can't just tell the states and the local governments, here's some vaccines, now you go do it. No, we have to coordinate. We have to provide the resources.
Others are failing to use up all of their available doses.
But the fact of the matter is, what good is the vaccine if it doesn't get into people's arms?
Several governors have urged the federal government to increase distribution.
This shouldn't be the Hunger Games like it was with PPE, right? That was ridiculous, and we all had to play that game.
The Biden administration has promised 100 million doses in 100 days. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, Washington, D.C.
Andrew, thank you. Donald Trump's second Senate impeachment trial is now set, but will Democrats be able to convince enough Republicans to break with the former president and convict Trump of inciting the deadly U.S. Capitol riot? The very latest when the news at 6 continues.
Order ahead in the Meyer app. From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
The single article of impeachment against President Trump will be delivered to the Senate on Monday. Both sides have agreed to a 2-week delay for the start of the trial, but the president is facing some new allegations. Here's ABC's Rachel Scott with the details.
Former President Donald Trump now headed towards his second impeachment trial, charged with incitement of insurrection after telling his supporters to march to the Capitol.
If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Chaos followed as the mob tried to stop certification of President Joe Biden's win. GOP Senator Rand Paul is still calling for an investigation into election fraud, but hasn't provided any evidence.
That if we want greater confidence in our elections, and 75% of Republicans agree with me, we do need to look at election integrity.
The single article of impeachment will be delivered to the Senate on Monday.
Everyone wants to put this awful chapter in American history behind us. But sweeping it under the rug will not bring healing. The only way to bring healing is to actually have real accountability.
And now Democrats are calling on the Justice Department to investigate the former president. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer outraged over this New York Times report detailing allegations of another desperate attempt to overturn the election. Trump's alleged plot to remove the acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen and replace him with a Trump loyalist who, according to the Times, could help toss out votes in Georgia. And overnight, another report from the Wall Street Journal saying Trump also allegedly tried to push the Justice Department to file its own lawsuit against states directly in the Supreme Court, something his appointees refused to do. Trump's team has not specifically addressed these latest allegations. So let's lay out the timing of the impeachment trial. Tomorrow, you will see that article of impeachment be walked over to the Senate. And then on Tuesday, senators will be sworn in as jurors. But that impeachment trial will not start for another 2 weeks. We're looking at the week of February 8th. And this is a delay that both sides agreed to. Democrats say it will give them more time to get through President Biden's cabinet picks and also work on his agenda. And Republicans say it will give Trump more time to prepare his defense. Rachel Scott, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Our weather quiet right now, but that's also leading to some foggy conditions as we look from the IMS pagoda there. Kind of tough to see the city skyline. Visibility should improve, but if you're going to be out there this evening, just kind of be aware of that. Reporting some fog there, about a quarter-mile visibility in the Bloomington area at 34. It's 32 right now in Indianapolis. Temperatures going to be very important here as we go through the overnight and into tomorrow morning. See, they may come up a couple more degrees here and then kind of hold steady there right around 30 degrees and near the freezing mark. So here's a look at TrueCast at 7:30 tomorrow morning. Things north of I-70 should be in pretty good shape. We see a little bit of that wintry mix, though, developing and lifting to the north. By 10 a.m., pretty much the southern half of the state going to be dealing with some wintry weather out there. Mix of some freezing rain and sleet, a little bit of snow, and that will continue even as we go into the middle of the day. Should start to improve, though, around Bedford and Seymour, and then we'll gradually see this rain and freezing rain line continuing to lift to the north. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we should see that moving into areas like Fishers and also toward Lebanon, but a little bit of a question exactly how quickly that's going to be lifting to the north. And then I think we'll still have some of that light precipitation going on as we head into tomorrow night across about the northern third of the state. And that's where we could add up a little more of that freezing rain for you. Looking at about 1/10 of an inch. I wouldn't be surprised, though. A couple of areas that could see about 1/4 of an inch of some freezing rain, certainly slickening up those surfaces out there tomorrow. And we could also see some light snow accumulation. Doesn't look like a lot out of the system, but again, a little bit of slick conditions doesn't take much to cause us some issues out there on the roads. But we could see maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow in northern communities less than a half an inch along I-70 and probably no snow to the south. Stay updated right here on WRTV. Of course, we got Good Morning Indiana at 4:30, and then we'll have your WRTV app, the Storm Shield app, also for those alerts right to your phone. There's a look at the forecast. Those temperatures hugging right around the freezing mark even through noon and 2 o'clock. Then we'll get to around 35, 36 for that afternoon high, but not everybody's going to be warming up here around Peru. Kokomo, temperatures only going to reach around 32 degrees, so that's why it's going to be a little more of a wintry day for you. Meanwhile, 38 in Bloomington and a chilly rain into the afternoon. Not too much of a break as we get into Wednesday. Quick moving system could bring a few more snow showers, some light accumulations there. Check for that 7-day planning forecast. Temperatures going to be in the 30s, a little bit colder on Thursday as we will struggle to make it into the 30s. Lows in the teens by Friday morning. Next weekend, temperatures warming up a bit, but it also comes with a little bit of rain by Sunday.
Kyle, thank you. This pandemic is hitting businesses hard, but one local owner isn't just finding a way to stay open. She's also giving back to others. Her unique story coming up next.
Today.
Throughout the pandemic, WRTV has been committed to highlighting local business owners who have gotten creative and found ways to keep their doors open. WRTV's Megan Sanctorum visited Chef Suzanne Catering and found out how the Fishers-based business is not only staying open, but continuing to give back to others as well.
This will be tomato basil soup.
For Suzanne Rockwell, making a living cooking for others is a dream come true.
It's almost like I don't want to say a form of motherhood, but you're nurturing their soul and you're feeding them.
After working a corporate job for years, Rockwell decided to make a change. She used her business background to open Chef Suzanne Catering in 2009, and business was booming.
We had finally paid off all our corporate loans, and we were just, I'm thinking, oh, I'm there, we're there.
Then the pandemic.
One by one, the events kept canceling.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars in expected business gone.
You cry for a day or two, and then you just got to figure it out. My husband and I reached into our 401k. We applied for any kind of assistance that the government had, the PPP, the EDIL, anything that would help us get through.
That and a lot of hard work has gotten them through. The catering company already had this drive-up hut location in Geist for fresh and fast to-go meals. That stayed busy, and in November, they opened a second hut, this one in Lawrence, behind the Harrison Center.
We're just really fortunate that people continue to support us.
And now, even her staff stepping up to support the business. Throughout the pandemic, she tells us she hasn't had to lay anyone off, and she's still doing a lot of charity work, including partnering with the Lawrence School District to donate meals to families in need. So this week, her staff decided to donate their time and run a spaghetti fundraiser. All of this so Rockwell can continue her mission to nurture souls through meals.
People, especially the last several years, people have been upset and they don't get around the dinner table, they don't eat, and it's just a way of bringing everyone together and sharing your day. And we're all so busy that a lot of times, we forget that that's important.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, WRTV.
What could be better than that?
Now to a call to action tonight. A local organization needs donations to help those experiencing homelessness downtown stay warm this winter. Hope Packages Building Unity Through Solidarity is a new organization that formed back in November. It's made up of members of Indy 10, Black Lives Matter, and the Indianapolis branch of the Party for Socialism and Libertation. Their goal is to connect to people living on the streets, find out their needs, and find ways to meet those needs. They just had their first assembly. They were able to hand out 40 packages, including socks, hats, and gloves, and food as well. Now they are collecting for their next assembly in February. There is a large need for both gloves and socks.
Most of us are honestly just a few missed paychecks away from struggling with housing ourselves. So I think that's really what drives a lot of, for me at least, that drives a lot of my passion. Just knowing that, folks aren't out on the streets because they want to be most of the time. They're out there because circumstances conspired against them, because it's very, very easy to lose access to housing, unfortunately, especially with the pandemic.
There are a variety of different ways that you can help. Every Saturday from 10 to 2, you can drop off donations at 55 South State Street, and they also have an Amazon wish list or accept cash, Venmo, or PayPal donations. Kyle.
All right, Nicole, we need to be prepared for some slippery conditions developing tomorrow morning, a little freezing rain and snow.
Kyle, thank you. And thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you tonight at 11. Have a great night.